All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Gridiron Zeros podcast. It is episode 83, and we got a great one for you today. We're going to be discussing, is it time to panic for the several 0-2 teams that we have in the league. We then go into follow the money, set you right with some good picks this week. And then finally, we recap the game. I'll leave it at that. The game against Seattle yesterday for the Lions. And then we preview and give our weekly list of demands for the Lions in our last segment against Atlanta. Let's go ahead. Let's get right into it. Okay, Al, week 2 almost in the books. We have Monday Night Football tonight where some teams are battling not to go 0-2. That would be the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Carolina Panthers.
You know, we found out last week that some pretty eventful stuff can happen on Monday Night Football.
I guess so. That's right. Yeah,
maybe the biggest thing of the
year
could happen on Monday Night Football, possibly.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, jeez.
Because the Jets are 1-1, even after that brutal loss to the Dallas Cowboys. The Jets are 1-1. Their season looks bleak, but maybe not as bleak as some of these other teams we're going to talk about today. So let's start with the team that started off the week and ended up going 0-2 on Thursday night. The Minnesota Vikings dropped to the Philadelphia Eagles 34-28. Al, is it time to panic?
Yeah,
I think so too.
Yeah, I think it's over.
That defense looked atrocious.
Yeah, 2 straight weeks it's looked pretty bad. And it looked very bad last year in stretches too. I mean,
they gave up 259 yards rushing on 48 carries.
What Swift ended up with? 170?
28 carries, 175 yards. He averaged 6.3 yards a carry. Boston Scott 5 for 40, 8 yards a carry. I mean,
it's inexcusable.
Abomination.
Yeah, and we have plenty of complaining to do about our own NFC North defense here, but hey, it could be worse.
It could be. I mean, the most frustrating thing is, like you hear Minnesota lost primetime Thursday night. You're like, well, shit.
Well, also
had a horrible game.
No, I thought you were going to say, well, also the sky is blue and the grass is green. So what else? What other surprises do you have in store?
You hear Minnesota loses primetime. You're like, well, Kirk Cousins had a terrible game, didn't he? 31 for 44, 364 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. He did have a fumble, but what else would you want from the guy? I mean, he fucking balled out. His run game, 9 carries, 28 yards.
Look, the point of this segment though is to say, is it time to panic? Like, I'm not really even in panic mode with this team because, I feel like we've seen this coming from a mile away. Like, we knew this defense was old and not good. Kirk's in the last year of his deal. Yes, they have Jefferson. Jordan Addison looks pretty fucking good too, I have to admit. He's having a nice year so far. Hawkinson even looked pretty good.
I would say that this is time to panic because I think they're losing games that they're in, but they're not.
But the point of it is that this is the end of this iteration of the Vikings. It's over. This year.
Do you deal Kirk?
Yeah.
Before the end of the season?
If you can, absolutely. But it depends. There's already so much conversation about what his trademark even looks like. I can't believe people are throwing the Jets out there like that's a realistic option. No, definitely not. But if you can move off him for some picks or whatever, this quarterback class is loaded. I know it's not all on Kirk, but overall he is the encompassing vibe of this team. They just aren't good enough. Jefferson alone cannot carry this. Kirk playing great fantasy football stats is not going to carry them to the Super Bowl, and that's the window that they've been in the last 3-ish years, really. And I just feel like the wheels are starting to fall off. And we knew last year they were kind of fraudulent with all their last minute wins, and their record shouldn't be as good as it was. We knew that. Now we're seeing what they actually are.
Yeah.
So I'm not panicking. This is what it is. But if you had to put a label on it, yes, time to panic for the Vikings.
They get a chance to get into the win column against a fellow 0-2 team. And I got to say, Al, I think this is the most obvious one on this list. Is it time to panic in LA for the Chargers?
Also, yes.
Yes.
Also, yes.
1,000% yes.
Because the big storyline coming out of week 1 was, what the hell is Brandon Staley adjusting on defense? This defense is too talented to be losing these games. Well, guess what? They just did it again against a Titans team who I wanted to bury this week, coming into the week. On paper, floundering team. So I was ready for the Chargers to have a nice bounce back game, and oh my God, they were up for a little bit. They lost.
They were, 14-10 at half, and then they were tied 14-14. They might have
gotten back in for a second, maybe.
Oh no, I'm sorry. 14-10, 17-14. Tennessee went back up, and then I think they tied and took the lead 24-17, and then gave up a touchdown late there. Yes, because Tannehill threw an absolute bomb to Treylon Burks, who had a good game yesterday, 3 for 76. I mean, not terrible.
About time. Well, that's not even that good, but all right.
I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not good. I mean, he led the team in yards.
It's the guy that they gave up A.J. Brown in exchange for. So let's.
I hate to say it, Al. I think A.J. Brown might have had worse stats this past week.
Career-wise, though, it ain't even close.
They got Derrick Henry the ball a lot more, 25 carries for only 80 yards. So not great stats from him either. But Tannehill, 20 for 24, 246, 1 touchdown, no picks, which, coming off last week, that was a lot of picks. Did get sacked 5 times for 46 yards. But, Staley on the hottest of hot seats right now.
Well, they should have just moved on last year, and
I think so too.
Maybe they could have been in the Sean Payton sweepstakes, and I mean, what a different situation that could have been with Payton and Justin Herbert. But this thing is on track for Brandon Staley needing to learn Chinese very quickly. So.
Yeah, he's a very analytical guy. I can't imagine the analytics tell you to punt on 4th and 1 when you're on the opposing 44-yard line.
Well, yeah, that's because you're a Dan Campbell slappy that you're saying that, but
it's very possible. But I can't imagine. I'm saying analytics-wise, that cannot be what the analytics say. Cincinnati. Time to panic?
No. And I know Burrow has looked bad. I know that the team has looked bad. But I mean, history shows that's how they've been the last 2-3 years. They start slow and they heat up. So I'm not going to worry too much.
I am not pushing the button down, but my hand's on the button right now.
You feel like this is different than other years?
Only because they dropped 2 division games now.
That is huge.
So in terms of getting into the division race, which are already 2 games behind Baltimore, possibly Cleveland.
Baltimore's 2-0. Cleveland has a shot to go 2-0 tonight.
The only reason I'm not pushing it yet is because Joe Burrow in his career, weeks 1 and 2, is a combined 1-7. And 1 year he went to the Super Bowl. 1 year he went to, I think, the divisional round. And then his rookie year, the 1 year they didn't go to the playoffs, he blew his ACL out. So I think that's the only thing. This is so extremely common for Cincinnati. But
I think the difference now too, or a part of it, I guess. I mean, there's such a slim margin for error in the AFC right now. I mean,
absolutely.
Those playoff spots, maybe teams like the Jets being out of it, maybe
honestly, it might be opening up a little bit more.
A little bit, but it's still gonna be a tight race. Maybe not as tight as everyone thought it would be, but it's gonna be tight. So you really need to start ramping up here. Can I throw a team to you? I got one.
I got to imagine it's the one I was just about to mention. Go ahead.
New England Patriots.
Oh, I actually forgot to write them down.
0-2.
Yeah. No. I wouldn't panic yet. They've had 2 close games, 1 possession games against 2, I would say, Super Bowl contenders.
Where they almost came back and won.
Yeah. I guess I wouldn't panic yet. I am hearing Kirk Cousins' name thrown around for the Patriots, though.
Well, I am gonna panic a little bit with them because I know these first 2 weeks are about as tough of a matchup as you could ask for. But you're at home for both of them,
Yeah,
for
that's
what
tough.
it's worth, and I just feel like the time for excuses for them is kind of out. They've had multiple seasons with Mac Jones. They brought Bill O'Brien back. Belichick's the greatest of all time. Their defense is definitely above average, and he always coaches up defense. I mean, this offense has no playmakers, like really
zero.
And you're just dumping it all on Mac Jones and a really subpar running game so far this year.
Extremely subpar. 25 carries, 88 yards, 3.5 yards a carry.
And like that ain't gonna win you the AFC East.
No,
Absolutely. Like Mike McDaniel's out there being innovative on offense, and like honestly, with the Jets in the spot they're in now, I think Miami's the team to beat in that division.
I would agree 1,000%. I would agree
because Buffalo has some warts this year too, but yeah, Miami looks like they're right in contention. So I think it is time to panic for the Patriots. And a quick side note too, I asked a friend of the show, Judd, after a few beers at the Lions tailgate, I asked him, as a Pats fan, obviously with everything Bill's ever done, he's the greatest ever. You've gotten a bunch of Super Bowls. Do you feel like the fans are kind of ready for the winds of change here a little bit? And he said, yeah, definitely. So
I don't know. I don't know. That's tough.
And it's not just him being dramatic. I've kind of peeped some comment sections and stuff, and there's a lot of similar consensus. So
interesting. Well, they have a chance to get back into the win column this upcoming week against the Jets. That one should
that's
be
tough too, though.
That's not
defense is tough.
No easy games here. Then they're at the Cowboys.
Oh.
Then they're at home against the Saints. Then they're on the road against the Raiders. And then they're Bills, Dolphins, back-to-back division games. So
yeah,
very tough schedule.
Time to panic. Time to panic.
But I think they can stay in games. I think they can. They're going to start winning some. They might be able to steal one here or there.
You got one more?
Yes, I have one more, and I think it's quite honestly the funniest one.
Can I guess?
How about them Broncos?
Oh, okay. That was going to be my guess, but
is it going to be Chicago?
It was going to be Chicago. Is my guess.
Chicago is also fucking hilarious.
Yeah, they're terrible. They're really bad.
How bad they are, and how everybody. What is it? Do I remember this correctly? Was Justin Fields the number one person bet on to win MVP this year?
Oh, I don't know about that, but people were chugging his Kool-Aid.
I think for sure. He might have been the most bet person for MVP this year, and the man's thrown back-to-back pick sixes in games. He is atrocious.
Yeah, they're a fucking mess, but that's no surprise.
But how about Denver?
Let's talk Denver. Yeah,
2 back-to-back home losses. They blow a 21-3 lead. Now it's not the offense.
Well, also not just home losses, home cupcake losses for their schedule.
Yeah,
Raiders Commanders. I mean, yeah, those are games that the schedule gods are like, all right, Broncos, get a hot start going. Yeah. Like, for real. Like, Sean Payton was given a layup for those first 2. And first game, it was offense. Second game, fluky disaster that ended in one of the weirdest endings to a game I've seen in a while. But
it should have been 35-27 final score. The Broncos get very lucky and get a huge help there at the end. But what the fuck's going on with them?
What's their schedule? Their upcoming schedule? Because that will definitely factor into, is it time to panic for them? I think it's hard. I think it's not good.
Miami.
Okay, it's not good.
It's not good. They will get in the win column week 4. They're at Chicago.
Okay, well, if they got one.
And then they got the Jets at home. So that's not bad.
Toss up.
And then they're at Kansas City. So I think what we're saying...
2-4.
2-4 at best.
Not great. Not great. But I don't think it's quite time to panic yet.
And they got... Oh, God. I mean, this opens up real bad. After at Chiefs on what seems to be Monday Night Football, they're at home against the Packers, and then they're at home against the Chiefs again, and then they're on the road against the Bills.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Not great.
But also kind of like the Patriots we were just talking about. Like, the excuse time is over. I know that Sean Payton is a first-year head coach with the team, but like, he's been a head coach for a long time. He had a pretty well-documented offseason with them, and your first 2 games were gimmies, and you went 0-2 at home. So, you got to go make chicken salad with the schedule right now, and there's expectations for them to go make a playoff run, like for real. Ever since Russ got there, but like this team has looked completely outclassed in almost every game they've played.
Are you panicking yet?
I'm not gonna say yet, but I'm definitely like,
you got your hand on the button
for sure. It's definitely like moving up closer to the button. But if you go 0-4, I mean, then yeah, let's party. But
evacuating children out of the area. I am like, the sirens are blaring through the city right now. It is time to panic, Denver. You guys are not good, even after the head coaching change. Here's how bad you are. Last year, Nathaniel Hackett started 2-1.
Oh, shucky, ducky, quack, quack.
Last year, Nathaniel Hackett started 2-1. He beat San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
And you're telling me that Sean Payton gets 2 layups and he can't get a fucking win at home?
Yeah.
You're telling me that he blows a 21-3 lead? Tell me that he can't put up more than 16 on Las Vegas?
Yeah, I was gonna say I want to say the Commanders and no, the Commanders are close to the bottom on my power rankings for their division, but the Raiders were well at the bottom.
Commanders are 2-0.
I know, but we
beat Arizona.
Going into the season though, I don't think anyone was thinking that they were going to be 2-0 or like actually being competitive. So. Yeah, it's a disastrous start, but I'm not quite panicking yet. You're clearly far gone into the panic zone,
dude.
You're on military lockdown right now.
I hate to say it, but I called this shit back in preseason. After their first preseason game, I was hitting the panic button then.
Fucking a
Totoso, and my God. 2 weeks in, and you're off to a worse start than the man you just tried to dunk on. Sean Payton, you got to figure it the fuck out, brother. Or you better start learning Chinese.
This thing's headed for a complete overhaul.
It's not looking good right now. Let me tell you. Minnesota might be trading for Russ in the offseason.
Oh, good Lord.
Okay. There's Houston and Arizona who are both 0-2 right now. Do we want to talk about them?
No,
I didn't think so.
One thing I'll say for each of them, 1 bullet point for each.
Yeah.
Cardinals look surprisingly more competent than I expected. Yeah.
Yes.
And CJ Stroud has looked pretty good.
Has he?
Yeah.
I was going to say, real quick, since you mentioned CJ Stroud, I will eat crow and say that Anthony Richardson actually looks much better than how I thought he would.
I think he's going to pan out. He's in concussion protocol, but
yeah, he's got to learn to protect himself. All right, time for Follow the Money. Okay, Follow the Money. Let's take a look at last week's picks. Al, you had Los Angeles Chargers -3. Unfortunately, did not hit. You had the New York Giants -4.5. Unfortunately, they did come back. Could not cover the spread.
Unfucking believable.
And then you had Desmond Ridder and the Atlanta Falcons. There is the first win on the season.
All right, we'll take one. It's an improvement.
I had Indianapolis -105. That hit. I had the under in Minnesota and Philadelphia. I bet that game IRL, and let me tell you, Al, I was really fucking pissed. There was maybe 20 points, I think, scored in the first half. 3 touchdowns in 6 minutes to start the second half.
Yeah.
And I knew it was dead right then and there. For some reason, they just started airing the ball out, and both secondary said, hey, let them have it.
Desperation.
So that one really hurt. And then I had San Francisco -7. And unfortunately, if you took San Francisco -7.5, like later in the week, you missed out and did not get the push.
Oof.
So
Rams are kind of
let me tell you something. I got a fucking beef with that pick too. Rams kicked a field goal when time expired in the fourth quarter.
Really?
They were down 10.
Oh, I wasn't watching that game,
That's
so.
some scumbag of behavior from Sean McVay. And he's a real son of a bitch for doing that. So year to date, Al is 1-5. I am 3-2-1. And lock of the week, I gave you. I said I don't care what the fucking number is. It should be around 14. It ended up being 12.5. Geno Smith over on rushing yards. It was never in doubt, ladies and gentlemen. 3 carries for 20 yards. I knew that's all he needed. 2-3 carries, all he needed.
You're right. Back to basics.
Back to basics. It was minus 140, but you put it's a lock for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. It's not always going to be the best odds, but it's a lock. Okay, so now we're looking at this week's board. Here are the over-unders. We have the New York Giants are traveling to San Francisco after coming off the big win over Arizona. That total is set at 45 points.
Hey, can I just say right quick?
Yes.
Fuck the G-men. I'm not taking those scumbags.
Ever again?
2 weeks in a row, I'm out.
Rightfully so. Atlanta is, we'll get into next segment, is coming to Detroit. The over-under is set at 47 points. Tennessee is traveling to Cleveland. We have not seen the Browns in week 2 yet, going up against Pittsburgh, but that total is set at 42 points at the moment. Next, the theme with the spreads this week, I don't know if you caught on to this, big spreads. Huge. Houston is traveling to Jacksonville as Jacksonville looks to get back on track. Jacksonville is 9-point favorites. Chicago in free-falling mode currently at the moment. A lot of people calling for Justin Fields' head after they lost to Tampa Bay, and he threw a pick 6 for the second consecutive game.
You know, I think this one already went up a point. I was looking at DraftKings before you came over. Yeah,
wow.
So 13.5.
All right, so we'll change that to 13.5. Also, a little note about Chicago. Have not won a game dating back to 2022. They've lost 12 straight games.
Bear down.
Are traveling to Kansas City to
they're in
Chiefs.
Arrowhead?
They are in Arrowhead.
Good God.
And 13.5-point favorites are the Chiefs in that game. Finally, this one, both these games are going to be on the back burner for important games to watch this week. Dallas is traveling to Arizona. Dallas 12.5-point favorites going up against the Cardinals.
Can you imagine poor Josh Dobbs running for his fucking life against Micah Parsons?
Yeah, it's not going to be good.
Who, by the way, I'm not going to be like everyone else and slurp off the Cowboys quite yet, but no, I will say
I'm a little conservative on it too.
Micah looks ferocious. Yeah, he looks even better than he already did. So yeah. That's saying something.
Very concerning. Los Angeles Chargers, finally for the money lines. The Los Angeles Chargers, as we mentioned in the first segment, traveling to Minnesota. Minnesota is minus 105.
This might be a candidate for Toilet Bowl of the Year game already.
That is a 1 p.m. in Minnesota game.
Doesn't matter anymore.
I think it does.
The Bucks ruined that trend.
Oh shit, you're right.
Yeah,
it does not matter. New Orleans is plus 105. We have not seen New Orleans' second game yet, but they will be in Green Bay. And then finally, Pittsburgh is traveling to Las Vegas for Sunday Night Football. Vegas is minus 105 in their own stadium. Al, I went 1-1-1. You went 1-2 last week, so I get to go first. And I tell you what, buddy, Jacksonville coming off that loss. Give me Jacksonville minus 9 at home.
Give me money. Money now.
Jacksonville minus 9 at home. Okay. You really that confident they're just going to go out there and cover that?
Steamroll them.
Okay.
They played a good game against the Chiefs. They just couldn't punch it in. I think C.J. Stroud is in for a tough day.
0-3 start for him potentially, so that's not fun. Let's go with the New Orleans money line.
Hello, I like money.
New Orleans plus 105 at Green Bay.
All right. That's an interesting one.
Derek
Carr traveling.
I need to spice it up, and I mean I'm trying to remember here. So week 1, the Packers played the Bears at Lambeau, but they were on the road.
No, they were in Chicago.
So they've been on the road two weeks straight.
2 weeks straight.
Okay. So this is the first home opener. Okay.
Saints on the road 2 weeks in a row now.
Well, Lambeau.
Carolina tonight.
Lambeau's not an Arctic tundra yet. The Saints, we'll see what happens tonight, but they could go 2-0. This is a fun matchup. I like the Saints roster more, and I want to see the Packers lose more importantly. So
Yeah.
let's ride with Derek Carr and the Saints.
Packers also a little banged up at the moment. No Aaron Jones yesterday. No Christian Watson yet on the year. This one scares me a little bit. I think Saquon is out.
He is.
Give me the under in New York and San Francisco.
Hello, I like money.
I mean, San Fran can put up 40 by themselves.
Very true. I am hoping that they keep it low, and I don't see New York scoring a point. Although, I mean, did you hear the second half stats for Daniel Jones yesterday? 250 yards passing, 50 yards rushing, 2 throwing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, no turnovers. Only player in NFL history to do all of that in one half.
How about that? Wow.
Pretty impressive.
You know what's interesting little factoid about that game too is that it would appear that in the second half, Brian Daboll took over play calling duties on offense from OC Mike Kafka, former backup Eagles quarterback. Remember Mike Kafka? Me thinking Brian Daboll needs to be calling plays because it's a much better offense when he is doing that.
I guess so.
All right, remind me your first two again. We got.
I took Jacksonville -9 at home, New York, San Francisco under 45.
All right, let's try and hopefully make some easy money here. Give me the Chiefs -12.5.
That was going to be my next pick.
Give me money. Money me. Money now.
Bears are pure incompetence. We've talked about them more than I thought we were going to talk about them today, but nothing good to say at all. More importantly, though, I think the Chiefs, especially now back with Kelsey and Jones, they're just due for a mollywop game where they just absolutely just stomp on someone. Yeah. First 2 games have been kind of nail biters. So
Chris Jones now a game under his belt. Kelsey now a game under his belt. They should be back to 100%. Yeah, I think they're going to steamroll the Bears.
Oh, sorry, 13.5.
13.5. Yep, I got you written down for that.
All right.
I tell you what, this could be really fucking stupid. But people keep doubting this team, and they keep showing up.
Don't do it.
And being competitive. I don't think Dallas is that good. I think their defense is good, not great. I think their offense is good, not great. I'm taking Arizona +12.5 at home against Dallas.
So you're counting on them to keep it
within 12.
Within 12. Well, if you can say one thing about the Cardinals this year, it is that they've been competitive, they have been in both games they've played, surprisingly. But I think they're about to be
against Washington
and the Giants.
New York.
I think they're about to be outclassed though by Dallas.
It's very possible that is true.
Is this a Dallas home game?
No, this is in Arizona.
Okay. Well.
I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, I don't.
Arizona is not far from Dallas.
I don't love it, but you know what?
Tells me they're taking their fans on the road.
I kind of hate the rest of the board here.
Yeah, I can't make heads or tails of that Tennessee and Cleveland game. That one's pretty tough. A majority of the spreads. By the way, Al, if there is a spread that you like, such as Dallas -12.5 or Houston +9, you are allowed to take that. But yeah, you also got Minnesota -105 at home as dogs over LA, and you got the 2 home dogs.
No. You know what we're gonna do here? We're gonna go with the Lions for the first time this year. We're gonna go with the under in that game.
Okay.
47.
I like that pick.
We talked about it. Feel like this is gonna be a heavy eat up the clock, time of possession, ground and pound day from Atlanta. Hopefully Detroit can play that game and keep up, even though the running game is banged up. I don't know. I don't think this would be a Seahawks points bonanza like this last week.
Either.
The defense better button the fuck up too. So
I think that's a very realistic possibility.
So let's go with the under.
Okay. Be sure to stick around to the end of the show to hear Al's lock of the week as he tries to keep us going in the right direction here. Let's move on. Let's talk Lions.
Let's go!
Okay, Al, time for Lions talk. You and I are recording this out of order today because we couldn't go 5 seconds without immediately talking about the Lions.
Now, before we were even setting up for the pod, we were like, let's talk Lions really quick. Yeah. I was like, let's just record it. Let's just get into it.
Yeah. So here we are. The Lions lose to Seattle in overtime, 37-31. There's a lot of blame to go around. Who do you want to blame first?
Oh, I want to start off such a negative note here, but I guess no.
We have to.
All right. Well, if we're gonna do that, pitchforks out. Number one, I'm gonna say the pass rush.
Piss.
Well, let's look at it from the first week and this week. 0 sacks.
0 sacks. No, I'm sorry.
One sack. I'm sorry.
1 sack on. Honestly, I do not even count that as a sack because it was Geno Smith rolling out of the pocket, and for some odd, inexplicable reason, the man tucks the ball and starts running instead of just throwing it away. And Anzalone finally got to him and chased him down. I do not count that as a sack.
That's a baffling decision by Geno for sure. But yeah, the pass rush in this game felt non-existent for most of it. I would say of a pretty lousy defensive effort all around. I'd say that was probably the weakest spot. Like, I think most fans could come away and agree after yesterday and week 1.
So only the 1 sack, right? How about this? That was the only QB hit we had all day. Not even just a sack, just getting to the quarterback. That was the only time we hit Geno behind the line of scrimmage. Also, that was the only tackle for a loss we had all day.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker was also running like unchecked on many plays and was having a much better afternoon with a horribly banged up offensive line that we thought we were going to be eaten all day yesterday. And
honestly, I'm not too upset with the run defense. Kenneth Walker had 17 for 43. He was averaging 2.5 yards a carry, right? Like their team as a whole was 25 for 82, 25 carries for 82 yards. That's 3.3 yards a carry. Geno Smith was 3 for 20. You're welcome, by the way, listeners. 3 for 20. His prop was 12.5. But you take that out, there's 22 carries for 62 yards. I mean, like, that's very solid. Meanwhile, we're 27 carries for 102 yards. And that run game didn't look great. But let's go back to the defense. Yeah, pass rush, non-existent. So we're getting bad matchups where we're throwing like fucking Charles Harris into coverage against a tight end. He's going to get beat 20 times out of 10.
And I think all 3 of their tight ends yesterday were like getting involved and getting catches. Like it wasn't just a one-man show. Like they were lining up in 3 tight end sets a lot, and they were all getting catches.
God, I wish I knew who these tight ends. I don't
know. Noah Fant, Will Dissly, and I don't remember.
Colby Parkinson.
Thank you. I didn't remember.
A tight end?
I believe he's the tight end 3, but I didn't remember his name off the top of my head.
Yes. Fant 4 for 56, Parkinson 2 for 41, Dissly 3 for 35. So they combined for a total of 9 catches, 120, 130 yards.
Yeah, I mean that's terrible.
On 10 targets.
I was hoping that this game wouldn't be as much of a track meet as it was, especially for the Seahawks, like scoring wise. But looking at it removed, I mean, based on the last couple of matchups here, I mean, should we have expected anything different? To be honest,
I mean, like it wasn't so much in the first half. I mean, we held them to 7 points, and then we come out. And this is my blame with the offense. And I'm not putting it on one individual player because I don't think you can. As an offense collective, this cannot happen. You cannot fumble the ball coming out of halftime when you're up in your own red zone. That basically just gave the Seahawks a free 7 points and the lead
major,
or the tie the ball game starting out.
It sucks all the air out of those 2 missed field goals. Like, they're basically nothing at that point.
And then B, you can't have that pick 6 in the fourth quarter. You just can't. I don't care.
I mean,
I know people are saying that it's on Gibbs for running the wrong route. I look at that video, and that ball looks like behind Gibbs completely.
Well,
I mean, how he could have broken off that route differently.
I was going to say that, but also I was going to make a note that, I mean, like, Goff's streak, it came to an end. I think it was 300 something pass attempts without a pick, which is like a league, league high,
third highest ever.
I mean, it's the NFL. You're gonna throw picks sometimes. Pick 6, yeah, that's brutal. But the fact that he's had one and like this long of a span, I'm not gonna be too mad. I'm more angry about the fumble.
Yeah,
and Jahmyr Gibbs kind of effing up the route than putting it all on Goff. Goff played
I'm not putting anything on Goff.
He played out of his gourd.
One good thing we had yesterday.
Yeah, he was electric yesterday.
28 for 35, 323 yards, 3 touchdowns. The one pick, he only got sacked twice. So good job, offensive line. He had 78.7 QBR and a 121.8 rating. That's with the interception.
And I gotta say, during the pregame and everything, they're announcing all the guys on the starting lineups and everything. Offense was Sunday. The cheers at Ford Field for Goff were like deafening. Like, it was so loud for Jared Goff. And I mean, I feel like that's probably a little confidence booster going into the game, because I think as long as he's been here, he's been kind of a wait and see. We don't really know what we got here kind of thing. Some people are in Goff camp, others aren't. This is the first time where I felt like he was fully embraced as a Lions fan, like being at a game and seeing him. But yeah, he balled out. He played great, and it's disappointing that it had to end with an L. But yeah, he played a great game.
He was definitely a bright spot. Amon was also a bright spot. Honestly, the passing game in general, I would say, was a good bright spot. Amon,
Josh Reynolds, serpent of death.
6 for 102. Josh Reynolds, 5 for 66, and had 2 really good catches for touchdowns. Laporta, 5 for 63 on 6 targets, as long as it's 23 yards. Again, he was a good blanket to pick up those first downs. Kenny Raymond, 2 for 46 and a touchdown. Gibbs, you want to talk about Gibbs?
You can spearhead the conversation here. I will chime in though.
I got to see more.
Well, I think we're gonna. I mean,
right,
because Montgomery being out, and like, I
don't know what it is. He looked night and day different from Kansas City. He was not hitting holes. He was not getting in the open. 7 catches. He had 39 yards. That's 5.6 yards of reception.
I guess like I do want to.
The longest was 7 yards.
I do want to expand the conversation a little bit, like further to just the running game in general, like moving into week 3 and onward. Montgomery being out for a couple weeks is going to be pretty massive for this rushing attack.
Yeah.
I don't think Gibbs is an every down 75% of the snaps guy, especially right now. He's really early on in his career, and that's just not his skill set for this offense, it would seem. So, I mean, what are we going to do here? Craig Reynolds and him are not going to be enough to carry this rushing attack alone. Like, we need another guy in there, and I don't know who that looks like right now. I don't know if we bring someone up from the practice squad. I don't know if they make a free agent signing. I know that Justin Jackson retired.
Leonard Fournette.
Playoff Lenny is a free agent still.
Hunt.
Well, I just don't think those guys are going to want to come in and contribute for the year. I just don't think as soon as Montgomery's back, they're not really going to be in the rotation as much, I would imagine. But
Rex Burkhead?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm kind of scratching my head here. I don't know what you do.
Do we try to get Justin Jackson out of retirement?
Honestly, that seems like a pretty realistic option to me. Like, he retired like at the end of camp, and I don't know, maybe he could be brought back, and he knows the offense, he knows the personnel. Like, that makes sense to me, rather than signing a Kareem Hunt or a playoff Lenny, because those guys are going to be expensive and year-long contributors, not just like stopgap guys.
James Robinson.
I mean, didn't we draft a guy like 2 years ago? Jamar Jefferson, maybe.
I think he's on the practice squad.
Maybe you bring him up.
Probably get elevated. But I mean,
I don't know.
That's not.
He's not David Montgomery. No. So yeah, As bad as
if you want a David Montgomery reliever, I would only compare him to some of those guys that I mentioned early on.
Right.
Fournette, Hunt, James Robinson would be good.
Yeah, he's a free agent. There you go. That might work. But
something like that.
Anyways, so yeah, the rushing game, definitely a rocky start for it for sure. And I will say Montgomery on the whole, I mean, like he's pretty damn good when he
looked good yesterday.
He made a lot of plays and he's filling the role that we thought he would. But yeah, now him being out for a couple weeks is definitely going to be a problem for this offense.
All right, so we've talked about the defense, we've talked about the offense. We also have to talk about Dan Campbell yesterday. Went for it on 4th down 3 times, only converted one of them, and honestly, the first one was pretty damn questionable. They were in field goal range, but Al and I have an agreement that one, Al gets to be mad at those non-4th down conversions because he criticizes the 4th down conversions to begin with. So, but he also doesn't celebrate the ones that we do convert. Where on the other hand, I don't get to criticize Dan Campbell when he doesn't make it on 4th down because I celebrate the 4th down conversions. You don't get it both ways.
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
You cannot have it both ways, ladies and gentlemen. You know what you're getting with Dan Campbell, and he is an aggressive head coach. He's going to go for it on 4th down 3 times, even when he is in field goal range.
Yeah, and I think where it boils down for me, it's not that I have a problem with every single time it goes for on 4th down. It's the batshit crazy ones that we see. Like we saw one last week, we saw one this week that was questionable. Like those are the ones that are enough for me to go. I guess overall not a fan. So I'm glad we have this little bit of a line in the sand here because that's pretty much. I feel like that's fair. You know?
Yeah, no. But where we do have a problem is him taking his foot off the gas on that last possession. I don't know. Maybe the pick 6 scared him. Maybe they saw something in the Seattle defense where they didn't want to. But honestly, they had great field positioning. They had all 3 timeouts to start that drive. You let it dwindle on down and you kick the field goal to send it into overtime. You had a 50-50 shot there, and maybe not even that because who knows if our offense does end up scoring a touchdown if they get the ball. But as soon as Seattle won that coin toss, I knew it was
over. It's over
because our defense couldn't stop a nosebleed yesterday. So I don't know. Tough game. That is a game where you watch the game field once and then burn it. Get rid of it. You have to move on from that game, and you have to move on from it quickly because you cannot start this year 1-2.
No.
Especially dropping both home games.
Home NFC matchups.
Yes.
Which
you cannot drop these fucking games.
Those are the ones you gotta take a W.
Also, it was a really tough game to watch because the Lions should have won that fucking game, even with all the blunders. But that was the biggest letdown spot possible. We were saying this, I was saying it all week, that it is a ginormous, massive letdown spot. Seattle has had our number the last couple of years. They're coming off a ginormous loss at home against the Rams. Detroit's coming off the biggest win in team history. Home game, everybody's going nuts. It was the biggest letdown spot in letdown spot history.
But you know what? I will say though, it's not like they went out there and like laid an egg. Like it was a competitive game until the very end. They forced it to overtime. Lots of points. There was some good. There was some ugly, but
there was more than some ugly.
For sure. But like it wasn't a complete farce of a performance like all around. And yeah, I completely agree. This is one that you need to watch the film once and then say, all right, we're on to Atlanta. Let's just move on. And you absolutely cannot lose to them next week. I know they're 2-0. They came back against the Pack, but yeah, dude, you cannot start off 1-2 against 2 on paper cupcake NFC home games.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, no, we're moving on to Atlanta. The good news is that we're still tied for the division lead because Green Bay lost yesterday to the team that we're facing this Sunday, Atlanta. Honestly, Green Bay should be 2-0 right now. They were up 12 with 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Let that one slip from their hands. And Atlanta went on to win. Desmond Ridder now 30-0 at home, dating back to college.
That's crazy.
Isn't that wild? Wow. But he's on the road. So we have back-to-back home games. We'll see what comes of it.
I mean, this offense is going to ride on Bijan Robinson and the rushing attack for sure. Desmond Ridder is kind of whatever.
It's
actually, he is exactly whatever, not kind of.
It's good that that our run game looked so good on Sunday, because that's how Atlanta wins games. But who knows? The bad news is we do not know what's happening with Taylor Decker, if he's going to be back. But it looks like we're losing James Houston for a couple of weeks. He suffered a fractured ankle.
Pascal out for a few weeks, I think.
Pascal hitting the IR.
Yeah.
Khalil Dorsey on the IR. David Montgomery going to miss a couple of weeks. Vaitai, he doesn't expect. Campbell said Monday that he doesn't expect Vaitai to go to the injury reserve list, but he might be out for a couple of weeks now. We need Decker back. We need to get Decker back so we can move Glasgow to right guard and have a good starting lineup still for there. We need some people on defense to step the fuck up, man. This is getting ludicrous. I don't know if we need Romeo to start playing better. I don't know. They got to figure it out.
We definitely need more Jack Campbell.
Definitely more Jack Campbell. It's a Lions list of demands for this upcoming week.
I demand satisfaction.
I think this is the biggest one. We need to control time of possession. Because that's exactly what Atlanta is going to try to do to us. So I'm saying 60 to 40%, 60% us, 40% them, have control of time of possession.
Hang on the ball, ground and pound,
yes.
Eat up the clock.
Keep their offense off the field. Don't let them get going. This one I feel like is a gimme. This one's for the defense. Less than 125 passing yards.
I think you can definitely do that.
I'm not going to ask for sacks because apparently you guys don't want to give us any. I'm not going to ask for turnovers because apparently you guys don't want to give us any. That's fine.
It's not fine, but all right.
Hold them to 125 passing yards. Okay. If you're going to keep doing this, Dan, Ben Johnson better have some shit drawn up that cannot fail. 100% fourth down conversion rate on Sunday. So I have that's one for the offense, one for the defense, one for the coaching staff, and then another one for the offense. No turnovers. That's the reason we lost the game on Sunday.
Per usual, I'll chime in with just like one demand. Marvin Jones, get involved. I feel like week 1 was horrible. This week, I don't even remember. Did he do anything at all? Maybe a catch, maybe 2? Anything?
I do not remember.
Of all the receivers, everyone had a decent day. I feel like I didn't see much of him at all.
Yeah, right. I don't remember seeing him on the in the box score.
Let's try and get like 40 plus yards from Marvin Jones. Let's get him a little more involved until JMO gets back. Yeah, we're gonna need some receivers to step up. I think Reynolds has done a really nice job in week 1 and 2, but they're gonna start scheming for him. They're gonna start covering him if he's actually getting this open. So we're gonna need another guy to step up here besides St. Brown and him. And he's back here, but he's done all of zilch since he got back.
Italy squat.
So Marvin Jones, 40 plus. Let's see it.
Marvin did not have a catch or a target yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
So, all right, score predictions.
Oh, I'm not going to, like I said, they need to win this game. And I'm not going to be a total downer about everything because of one game. We have a long season to go. We're going to go we're going to go Lions 27, Falcons 20. And I think one last note, I think the blue ski masks might be dead on arrival. So.
Retired. Seahawks stole that from us yesterday.
Yeah.
We cannot wear those anymore.
Yep.
I'm going to go 37-20 Detroit.
Okay.
We need to see a game where you guys win by double digits. Restore the faith in the fans, please. For the crazy fans, for the fans that love to overreact and jump to conclusions. That's not us, for the record. All right, let's close the show out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. Thank you again for listening to Gridiron Zeros podcast. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on TikTok, YouTube, all that good jazz. At Gridiron Zeros Pod or at Gridiron Zeros, the handles. Last week I gave you Geno Smith over 12.5 rushing yards. It hit. We got back to formula. We got back to the basics. We're buddy against the Lions. We're homers. We get that, but we also know how to make money, especially when it comes to betting against our team. So, Al, with that all being said, get us back over 500. Get us to 2-1. The lock of the week. The floor is yours.
But it's a lock.
This week's lock of the week, the over, 54.5 point over in the LA Chargers Minnesota Vikings game, 1:00 at whatever the fuck the Viking Stadium's called. I'm blanking on it.
Yeah, 54.5.
54.5 is DraftKings. Look, I know
That's jumped up.
I know it's steep.
I think that was at 51 this morning.
I know that's steep already, but these two defenses have been
abysmal.
Points have been easy to come by. So,
I mean, you look at it this way, ladies and gentlemen. That's 31-27. That sounds so incredibly realistic.
And both these teams are desperately trying to go get a win. So this is going to be a points bonanza, if I had to guess. So lock of the week there.
Al, I don't know if we're on two separate wavelengths. I just want to say there was a really easy layup for you this week.
Well, lay it on me. I'm not going to take it, but
I mean, back to formula means back to formula. The Lions are going up against a mobile QB this week.
Look, that bet hit last week, all right? And I'm happy. I'm happy it did. I'm happy we're back on track, but
you got to create your own path. I get that.
I mean, do you remember some of the crazy shit I was taking last year and it was hitting? Like, we had alternate spreads going. We were like,
some alternate stuff going.
We were going wild. So I feel like we got a, little yin and yang over here this week. Okay.
That is at minus 110, I assume.
That was sorry, I can tell you exactly. Minus 108.
Minus 108 on DraftKings. Book it now, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that has gone up quite a bit since this morning. I thought I saw it at 51.5. Perhaps I was wrong.
I mean, can it really go any further than that in the next couple of days? That's pretty fun. That's pretty high already, but yeah. I'm still feeling bullish on it.
That is a big jump, but we'll see. Oh, wow. Patriots and Jets are at 37. I feel like I didn't even see that game. It must have not had that game listed on there when I was doing the board. I probably would have put something on there.
Well, you got one quarterback who's a pumpkin and the other one who's coached by Bill Belichick. So latter years career Bill Belichick that may make that distinction.
All right.
We good?
We're good. Be sure to make good choices, good decisions, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Later.